Hello, everybody. I'm Eftychia Gavriil, and I'm thrilled to be here with you today. I'm a holistic leader, a musician, a passionate advocate for education and safeguarding, especially for young children, teens, and women worldwide. My mission is to turn teachers into educators, to break down outdated educational practices, and to dig deeper into the psychology and the neuroscience of understanding the individual, social, and intellectual development of each learner, whilst fostering the notion of cultivating intrinsic, lifelong creative learning and ultimately enabling learners to find and be their most authentic and true self. By profession, I've been the head of music in several well known international schools in various countries, and for the last decade, I've been exploring, creating, and developing curricula that are as diverse and unique as the students I've been teaching. From the UK to Singapore, China, then Cyprus, and now I'm fortunate enough to be back in China and more specifically Shanghai, a city that is well known as a technological hub, where the passion and drive for innovation, the need for adaptability and creativity is at its peak, and where educational development is thriving, especially in international, bilingual, or private schools, institutes, and universities. I've had the honor to collaborate with incredible educators from around the world, including the likes of Professor Alex Ruthman from NYU and his team. Together, we've created some truly special projects, and with my various teams and departments, we have successfully revamped music curricula to make learning more personalized, creative, tech friendly through the art of experiential, ongoing, personalized teaching and learning. I am here today to share my passion and vision for holistic education with you, leading up to the online conferences hosted by Novi University on the 24th and 25th of May 2024. So, what does holistic education really mean? How does it look like in the fields of arts? But most importantly, how does it promote the notion of intrinsic lifelong learning? And how can we as teachers elevate our status in becoming holistic educators and documenting the creative process of one's learning rather than the summative outcomes? So, let's dive in. Holistic education is a diverse approach aimed at fostering individuals beyond mere academic achievement. It acknowledges the diverse dimensions of humans' existence, including physical, emotional, social, intellectual, spiritual, and environmental aspects. Through experiential learning, critical thinking, and the integration of subjects beyond traditional academic boundaries, holistic education aims to cultivate well rounded individuals capable of navigating life complexities with empathy, resilience, and purpose. It values individuality and seeks to nurture the holistic growth of individuals, emphasizing the importance of creativity, 21st century skills, critical thinking, collective responsibility, social emotional intelligence, and ecological consciousness. By addressing these dimensions comprehensively, holistic education empowers individuals to thrive in a modern, dynamic, and interconnected world, fostering a deep understanding of themselves and their place within their wider community. This is where I have found inspiration and built the foundation of my curriculum development approach, which I like to call the three pillars: 1, 1 to 1, 1 plus 2. We'll dive a little bit deeper into these pillars later on. In this presentation, I've included two videos that are really important in understanding the way I approach teaching and learning, as well as curriculum development from a holistic point of view. You will find the links of both these videos on this PowerPoint slide, but also at the end of the presentation if you'd like to watch them in full later on. So the first video covers Ackerman's theory on the whole child and how there are many aspects of human potential that grades cannot measure. Besides curiosity and intelligence, children may choose to develop creativity, passion, resilience, confidence, mindfulness, humor, and many other important traits. Edith Ackerman identifies four natural urges that drive our growth throughout childhood to adult life, from being me to being us, to the world around us and human creation. Each of these four urges can then be divided into two subcategories: The video goes on to examine this theory from the perspective of a young girl. The second video gives a great insight on Piaget's theory of cognitive development, illustrating the 4 stages that young learners have to conquer during this developmental journey. First, the sensory motor stage, second, the pre-operational stage, and third, the concrete operational stage, and fourth, the formal operational stage. Now, how does all of this link more specifically into my way of thinking and implementing things? Well, first of all, it brings to my conscious mind the notion that each child's progress matters, and that I, as an educator, must identify and meet the current needs of each child no matter what they may be. Therefore, building rapport with all students at a deeper level is a must. Now, the reality is that as specialists, we know that we have 200 to 300 students that we teach each week. We see them for a very short time compared to other subject fields, and therefore the way of building these connections, collecting these data, and documenting ongoing learning process must be precise, instant, real, and authentic. Building from these videos, I would also like to emphasize the commonality they have in fostering the importance of curiosity. I'm sure that you, as young learners yourself, can empathize with our students when it comes to the fundamental need of sparking curiosity and how it instantly ignites intrinsic motivation in all types of learners to do well, to learn more, and to dive deeper into any given activity. Allowing students to take ownership of their learning will ultimately enhance their sense of collective responsibility and allow them the freedom to choose the depth and the means of learning and creativity. Curiosity is the fuel that drives the learning. It sparks exploration, inquiry, and discovery. Research shows that curious learners are more engaged, motivated, and retain information better. Holistic education nurtures and celebrates curiosity as a fundamental aspect of the learning journey. And might I pause here and say that we are in dire need of radical transformation of all traditional educational settings to a more holistic, creative environment that fosters curiosity through experiential learning. Experiential learning immerses students in hands-on activities and exercises that encourage exploration and discovery, whether it's through experiments, field trips, interdisciplinary or transdisciplinary projects, or even AI simulations. Experience learning ignites curiosity by making learning tangible and relevant to students' daily lives. One thing I really enjoyed as an educator is really setting the parameters of learning and then stepping back and seeing students deepening their learning by taking ownership of the direction of the journey that they want to embark on, as well as setting the depth of knowledge that they would like to expand on, both on a personal or even group level. In all schools that I've worked at, we provide Common Core mixed ability music classes, some CCA programs, ensembles, orchestras, bands, and some even provide one-to-one instrumental lessons too. Now, in our Common Core music classroom settings, as abilities and skills are already very diverse, from the moment a class enters the room, it is very apparent that some students have immense and versatile music skills and knowledges. However, some have little to none. Due to the amount of students that we have in each class and their varied background and prior music knowledge, when it comes to classroom music making, my concepts and beliefs have profoundly changed from when I first started my career in education and from what I was exposed to as a young learner. Now we strive for differentiated ways of teaching and learning that not only apply to the 3 categories of high, medium, and low abilities, but is also driven by interests, communities' needs, ways, means, and methods that are different from other groups, even within the same class or cohort. I have learned to evolve as an educator, to nudge, intrigue the learners, and then step back and allow curiosity, creativity, as well as community decision making to take the lead. Schools, educators, and home environment must also come together with a child-centric approach that constantly updates, upgrades, and even elevates both the physical environment, the creative and intellectual programs we offer to the young learners. Subject-specific skills are now blended with social, emotional, character development skills, as well as promoting intellectual and critical thinking abilities, whilst fostering notions of global citizenship, eco-awareness, and nowadays even AI technology. Now, how do we do all that? Where, first of all, I personally choose to be in school environments and countries where innovation and creativity is not only appreciated but encouraged and promoted. Secondly, I plan thoroughly and deliver current, holistic, ongoing spiral project-based curricula that match my student profiles, their needs and interests. And thirdly, I observe, give constant feedback to both individual and groups, but most importantly, I have learned to let go of the illusion of control. We cannot control the amount of deep learning that occurs within each learner, but we can and we must provide a safe space for experiential creative learning to take place, and then step back and watch the magic unfold. I focus on creating a combination of 5 transdisciplinary projects into one academic year, whilst providing a stimulating environment for learning, research, creativity, IT, and literacy skills, and of course music making to take place. IT and now AI is also a prominent factor in our current society, and therefore it is now part of our current experiential learning process too. Now, the 3 pillars I mentioned earlier, the one, the individual student, 1-to-1, and then 1+1. What do they mean? Well, first, we have to recognize the individual. Every single student, their character, their way of thinking, their needs, their learning styles, even their current linguistic abilities. Then we work on a one-to-one level with them to assess their prior music knowledge, skills, and abilities, their current understanding based on the unit criteria, and then together with the student we plan ahead on how we can further develop their musicianship and interests in a more subject-specific manner. Finally, we look at their social, emotional abilities and character development. This area is called 1+2, sometimes it could be 1+3 or 1+5, depending on how big the group is. We then observe this individual and how they interact, connect, and inevitably how they co-create music compositions with others, how they share their thinking, and finally, how they come together in order to present their work. Now, none of the above could take place if there's no revamping of the current music curriculum. When it comes to curriculum itself, many schools are still driven by subject-specific standards and strands, teach to meet test criteria, and therefore have limitations on how to assess and evaluate students' ongoing process and holistic process. In music, for example, the strands could be music literacy, performance, composition, critical appreciation. That is often test-based driven too, therefore all students must have a similar answer, and there is little to no mention of any other development that that child or youth might be experiencing during these moments. So we're now seeing the fundamental need for urgent change and transformation to a more interconnected approach to teaching and learning of various subjects, topics, and themes. Our units are moving away from just skill-based, narrow titles to wider umbrellas that allow experience and holistic learning to take place. We have the freedom to explore longer units of work in order to enhance and deepen the learning journey and experience for our students. We can allow the process of learning to take its own shape, and even 2 groups from the same class can use 2 different means of reaching the same strands of learning with similar or even completely different depth of learning. When we design these projects and activities, we ensure to tailor them based on the standards mentioned earlier, and our students need to show their learning via different means: musical composition, writing, performance, class participation, as well as adding strands that assess the process rather than the outcome of learning. We collect ongoing data in many forms, such as individual, class, or group videos, exit tickets, worksheets, posters. We have online portfolios, and we ensure to praise our students' efforts on an ongoing basis note their progress and set goals together with the learners for the units ahead. Now, when we start a new unit of work or project, students will be given the timeline, the title of the project, the task criteria, which we will then analyze as a class, followed by a group discussion, and then the young learners can set their own music and personal goal tailored around the learning objective and task criteria of that specific unit. Here are some examples of some fun work that students had to produce alongside their final presentations, which included more specific music skills and abilities. Each project will last for about 6 to 8 weeks, and within this time frame, we embark on a journey of exploration of concepts, tools, theory, history, technology, leadership or communication skills, and at the same time, ongoing reflection and project checks. Students get to showcase their work, they receive immediate feedback, and then they get to show their final work one last time before the end of unit self and peer reflection. This allows us to make connections to the next unit and intrinsically allows the flow of ongoing linear and spiral curriculum to exist. It is vital in such learning environments to keep a weekly track of each learner's profile in these 3 areas, both as an individual but also as a group member. We inevitably need to provide realistic and true data on each learner's ongoing process and progress of learning. Emotional intelligence, including self-awareness, empathy, and resilience, is crucial for personal growth and interpersonal relationships. Holistic education prioritizes the development of emotional intelligence through mindfulness practices, social emotional learning programs, and supportive classroom environments. Now, how do we collect ongoing data, evidence of learning, and capture creative thinking? Simple, by making it visual. Especially in music, once the sound is over, the image is gone, so we need to keep a track of it. We need to give it time and space to exist both in an individual, group, and classroom setting. For me personally, I have created my own music journal designs, and every school I enter, we establish norms with my students which allow them to check in with their feelings at the start of each lesson. They can express themselves in an individual and or group setting. We then follow on with some key questions and themes to explore throughout various hands-on activities. As we go along, we complete various forms of exit tickets that offer quick check of current understanding of knowledge, whilst again allowing time for expression, creativity, self-reflection, and even high-order thinking and questioning to take place. We also have online portfolios and means of communicating and documenting these processes, as well as student-led conferences where even primary school learners can share their learning journey with their family members. Making connections to real life is also vital when trying to foster curiosity, intrinsic learning, and ultimately love for lifelong learning. You can take a few standards, blend success criteria with social emotional goals, and allow projects to be expanded by the students themselves and their curiosity and interests. Allowing freedom of the direction of learning also enables the students to take ownership of their learning whilst fostering the sense of collective responsibility, co-teaching, and development. So, I guess the hardest challenge we have as holistic educators is making thinking visual, making the process of learning creative, and stepping back in order to observe and capture creative thinking in the making. By making learning visual, verbal, and giving it space to exist both in an individual, group, and classroom setting, we can then look back and see how the progress and process of each child's experiential learning unfolds. All in all, this is all I have to share with you today. Please reach out if any of the above resonates with you as an educator, and if you would like to share resources or practices, and maybe even set future collaborative projects together. Thank you for your time.